Hey there, this is another great in-depth prep course look brought to you by testprepstore.com. No matter what test you're preparing for, we do everything possible to make your test prep search as easy and informative as possible. With our expansive product database and key comparison pages, discover every great option there is when it comes to prep courses, private tutoring, study guides, and much more across all tests. To keep this great resource available to all future test takers, please remember to utilize our links at testprepstore.com to make your test prep purchase, and be sure to utilize our social media buttons to like and share our website and featured products with your friends and family. They might be searching for a test prep just like you. Also, be sure and get your questions answered by industry experts within our forums. Welcome everybody, this is video interview number 2 of a 4-video series with Matt. In the first video interview, we got introduced to Matt, who is taking a Veritas Prep GMAT prep course, specifically the 6-week live online prep course, and we got an idea for his expectations of the GMAT, but also his expectations of Veritas Prep, and in general we got introduced to Matt. If you haven't got a chance to watch interview number 1, I highly recommend it. In this interview number 2, Matt is halfway through his Veritas Prep GMAT prep course, so he's taking the 6-week prep course, so he's 3 weeks through it, and we're going to get an idea for exactly where he's at in the process, what he's gone through, what he likes, what he doesn't like, if he needs to adjust anything within his prep. We're going to get an idea for that as well. Hey Matt, welcome back. Thank you again for doing these videos. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it, and I know that our viewers appreciate it. So we hope your studies have been going smoothly. How about you dive right in and give us an overview of the types of things the Veritas Prep course has covered over the last 3 weeks.
Hey, it's good to be back. We've actually covered a lot of ground since we last talked. We started out with the foundations of the GMAT logic, which is basically how they're going to ask the questions and the formatting of the questions and some recurring question types. We've also gone through arithmetic, algebra, word problems, a lot of the math that I haven't seen in forever. We've also done some basic grammar skills, sentence correction, something called critical reasoning, which is deconstructing arguments and looking at the logic behind the arguments and how to strengthen and weaken arguments. And that's as far as we've gotten so far.
Yeah, that's definitely what we expected that you'd be covering, and it sounds like you got a crash course into all of it. How about you walk us through what a typical week is like for you with regards to studying and completing the prep course?
Sure. So to start, my class meets on Sundays and Tuesday nights from 7 to 10 p.m. So obviously then that's whenever I'm actually sitting in class. But other than that, Monday through Friday, it's a typical work week. Get off around 5 or 6 each night. And then I come home, eat supper, go on a run since I'm training for the full marathon, and then hunker down and do whatever I need to for the next class, whether that be the skill builder, which is basically the prereqs, or the homework from the class before. But that generally will take me from, I don't know, 3 to 4 hours a night. And I generally don't spend a lot of time on Friday nights or Saturday nights studying. Saturday days, yeah, and Sunday days typically, but generally 3 to 4 hours a night.
It's great to hear that you're putting the right amount of time into your studying. You know, there's so many people who take these prep courses and they just think the prep course alone is going to be sufficient to get that score that they need. It seems as though you definitely realize that you have to put the time in. You know, for all you viewers out there who are thinking, gosh, 3 hours a night seems like a lot of time, just remember it's only 6 weeks. So at the end of that 6-week period, you're going to have learned everything that you needed to learn. You're hopefully not going to have to go back and study it again to retake the test. So putting that time in during the prep course is critical. And it's great to hear that we're following somebody through this process who understands that and is putting in the right amount of time. You definitely should get the score that you desire. So Matt, from a technical aspect, is the online functionality and quality of the prep course what you expected? And how would you rate it?
It's actually way beyond what I expected. I expected it to be some professor standing up there at a whiteboard and just cranking out problems. It's very, very interactive. You interact a lot with the students, the other students that are in the course, and the chat. Basically, there's a big chat room, and you guys all talk and talk about some of the things that you don't understand and do understand. The video, the quality of everything is actually really, really good. So yeah, so far it's been well beyond my expectations.
That's great. I remember in our first video interview, you had mentioned that you were worried about how interactive the prep course was actually going to be. So it's fantastic to hear that it's actually exceeded your expectations and it's something that you're most pleased with. Matt, do you feel the pre-class assignments are helpful, and why?
Oh yeah, definitely. So the pre-class problems or the pre-class instruction, if you will, it's the skill builders I was referring to earlier. So what they don't want to do is waste your time and teach you this is how addition works, this is how subtraction works, right? But you need to go back and refresh all of that, algebra, grammar, etc. In class, they want to teach you how to solve the problems that the GMAT's going to be required, the approach to take for the questions, and some of the different curveballs that GMAT can throw at you with the foundational skill building knowledge, if you will. So yeah, definitely, and I like the fact that they're not wasting my time with the skill builders in class. You do everything before, and if you do have problems, you can always reach out to the online resources they have. I haven't had to do that so far. I feel like the skill builders have been pretty informational and pretty straightforward. So yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, that's great to hear. You know, those pre-class assignments are one of the reasons why Veritas Prep is so widely recommended. You know, it's thought of across the board that you should come to your actual classroom having the base knowledge that you need, and it's great to hear that you're finding it very useful. Do you feel that the classes are appropriately or sufficiently engaging?
Yeah, so far I think saying it's engaging is almost an understatement. For example, on the first day of class, or before your first day of class, there's an email sent out, basically describe yourself, tell us a big accomplishment in your life, and it comes from the instructor. And so I thought, okay, they're going to post this up, or they want everybody to read these emails that's in the class, and I'll admit I didn't read a whole lot of them. But on the first day, so the instructor shows up on the screen, and he literally calls everybody out individually, one by one, and just asks you about yourself. He doesn't call you out and like ask you problems or anything, but it's all about you know, and your background. And I didn't expect that. Like I said, I expected some guy to be up there, guy or girl, be up there droning on and on about, you know, math and all the various, you know, grammar and whatever. But it's been very interactive, and also, like I said earlier, a lot of the other students, when they're going through issues, you guys talk about it during class, and you can easily quote unquote raise your hand in class and say, hey, I didn't get that, and they will easily go back over it with you.
That's fantastic that they're taking it to that level, and it really sounds like you're enjoying it. Matt, to switch gears a little bit, what has been the most challenging aspect of the first 3 weeks?
So far for me, the most challenging thing would be just time for homework and whatnot. I mean, because things do come up during the week that demand my attention. As far as actual content, I've been struggling more on the quant side, which surprised me because I figured I'd be more on the verbal side of not being as sufficient, being an accountant and working with numbers, but there's just a lot of mathematics and mathematical reasoning that I haven't visited in so long. So I'm just going to have to spend a lot of extra time in the homework with algebra and arithmetic and word problems. So yeah, so far, content-wise, the quantification section's been my toughest area.
You know, I think that's a pretty common response for most people who are taking the GMAT or preparing for the GMAT, and I'm sure that you'll get there. Matt, is there anything that you need to adjust and do differently over the last 3 weeks in order for you to feel like you can achieve that high score that you're wanting?
Yeah, I need more time with the quant section. As I said earlier, it's stuff that I really haven't visited in a long time. So I need to take more time diving into algebra and diving into the word problems. and just shore up my floor.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, Matt. We're going to get into this next question here. It's probably what most of our viewers are wanting to be asked, and they want to hear your response. Is there anything that you do not like about the Veritas prep course, and can you please explain why?
Well, I guess mine isn't so much a criticism of the Veritas prep course or the material. Mine is more the length of the skill builder. Some of the ones in the beginning are really long. They take a lot of time, and I would say more than 3 to 4 hours, more like 5 to 6 with some of the algebra and the basic grammar skills. And it also depends on your level coming in, and mine was pretty low. In the beginning, you do need more time for those skill builders, and instructors do tell you that this will take you longer than normal if you haven't visited this stuff in a long time. So it's hard in the beginning, but as it goes on, the skill builders get smaller because everything builds off of itself. But so far, that would be my only criticism, I guess.
You know, Matt, that's not necessarily an uncommon response to this question. There are people who do think that Veritas Prep provides you with a lot of information. You know, we as test prep company reviewers or prep course reviewers, we see this as a positive. You wouldn't want to see a company under provide you in terms of information. You always have the ability to skip over things within these skill builders if you think that you're sufficiently knowledgeable within that subject matter area or whatever it might be. We think, at the end of this process, at the end of this 6-week process, and especially after you take your GMAT, you're going to look back and you're going to be very thankful that Veritas Prep provided you with all that information. Yeah, it can be hard as you're going through it and you're first getting into the course and you're having to chug through all this information. But it is a very good thing that they're providing you with everything that you need to form that base so that you can be successful on your GMAT. Matt, do you feel that the Veritas Prep course is significantly increasing your chances at achieving your desired GMAT score, and why?
Oh yeah, I think it would be incredibly difficult to find all of this information, all the foundational skill building information you need in one place, in one resource. Having it all in an organized fashion that's easily learnable is so helpful. It would take me so much time just to research all this stuff online or dig out old textbooks. And another thing that is nice that our instructor does, I can't speak for all the Veritas instructors, but the one that I currently have, he gives you links to different references, websites. If you're really struggling with this, if you need more practice on this, then hey, go to this website. This will help you enhance your math skills, or this book will really help you for some of the basic algebra skills, and just the knowledge of the recurring GMAT questions and how to approach the questions. For a certain critical reasoning question, maybe you need to read the question first and then read the long blurb that they give you. Things like that I wouldn't have thought to take that approach until nailing out 40 or 50 of those questions and then figuring them out and then going back and spending all that time to try to do that again. So yeah, I definitely think this is going to help me achieve that score in a lot more efficient timing.
Yeah, Matt, thanks for being completely honest about that. For the viewers out there who actually watched interview number 1, you'll remember that Matt was pretty confident in his ability to potentially self-prep for the GMAT. Now, he never has prepped for the GMAT, but we asked him that question, do you think you could have done this just self-prepping? And his response was, yes, I think I could have done this, but who knows, because I haven't prepped for it. And so now it's interesting to see that as he's 3 weeks into a 6-week course, he's kind of shifted gears and saying that, well, let's back up a little bit. I don't know that I could have necessarily self-prepped. So for those of you who are out there watching and wondering, should I actually pay for a prep course, purchase a prep course, or should I just go out there and try and self-prep? This is pretty good, clear evidence that purchasing a prep course is critical. They really do gather everything that you need in one centralized place, and it's going to help you get to that next level. Matt, at this point after week 3, would you recommend the Veritas prep course to others?
Yeah, I definitely would. It's not your typical online course. It's not so boring to sit through class. It's very interactive. It's funny with some of the other people post in there. And the instructor is pretty clever. And obviously, I'm learning a lot more, way more efficiently than I could have ever done in my own time.
That's great to hear. You know, Matt, thank you again for taking the time to answer these questions. We can't thank you enough. And I know our viewers are appreciative of it. We're going to talk to you again at the end of your 6-week GMAT prep course. That'll be right before you take the GMAT. We can't wait to talk to you then and get your insights at that point. For you viewers out there who are wondering where you can find interview number 1 or the interview immediately following this one, which would be interview 3, we're going to provide links directly underneath this video within the blog posting. You can also find the blog articles within our general blog page. Just filter and search through there, and you'll be able to find it. All the links are contained within there. So again, Matt, thank you very much. We really appreciate this, and we'll talk to you in 3 weeks.
Sounds good. I'll see you soon.